How's it going, guys? It's Holly from Mars 5000, and we're currently experiencing severe weather throughout the Midwest and throughout the Great Lakes region, and it's even extending all the way to the Northeast. So let's first take a look at the radar for along the East Coast, and we have some scattered showers beginning to develop as far east as Pennsylvania, where we see some thunderstorms forming out of instability. Oh wait, this is let me put this loop forward so it could be at the current time. It's currently 5:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, by the way, and we see some thunderstorms really developing throughout Pennsylvania, which happened earlier than expected, since the thunderstorms weren't expected to really develop until tomorrow morning. But it seems like they're really starting to develop a little earlier than anticipated throughout the East Coast. So definitely watch out, even if thunderstorms currently aren't in the forecast for your area along the East Coast around Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and even as far south as the eastern portions of Virginia and Maryland. The thunderstorms aren't severe, which is definitely good news out. And I don't expect them to be severe until maybe tomorrow morning, but even then I find it a little less likely than it is today for these thunderstorms to be severe, because by the time these thunderstorm bands, by the time this trough that's coming through the Midwest reaches the East Coast, it's going to be very early in the morning. I would say like 9 to 10 o'clock, and there really won't be enough instability for very severe thunderstorms to develop. And once there is, this trough is going to be mainly well offshore and mainly affect maybe the Carolinas tomorrow in terms of severe thunderstorms. But even then, the chances of severe thunderstorms are lower than it is today currently. But as of right now, a lot of East Coast, just east of the Appalachian Mountain Range, is experiencing some thunderstorms. So watch out if you're in this area. Now for the main threat, you see quite a long squall line of severe thunderstorms extending from the northern portion of Ohio, and maybe you could even consider it longer than that if you include these thunderstorms that are developing throughout Ohio and Kentucky. However, the main portion of the line is pretty much between northern Ohio, extending all the way up to the Great Lakes and almost all the way up to Canada. So there's a very long line of thunderstorms that's going to affect quite a lot of people throughout the Great Lakes region and the Ohio River Valley. And Detroit, the thunderstorms right now are currently right at your doorstep. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect ahead of these thunderstorm bands. As you can see, the darker reds represent severe thunderstorm warnings. It includes Detroit, and it includes the coastal regions of Canada right by the Great Lakes. And just south of that, severe thunderstorm warnings are also issued just east of Cincinnati, just west of Columbus. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if these severe thunderstorms impact Columbus, as it's becoming more and more likely at this point that these thunderstorms won't lose steam by the time it reaches Columbus later today. And then we also have these thunderstorms extending as far south as Tennessee, even though they currently are not severe. And then if we take a look even more further south, we do have severe thunderstorm warnings also issued for the state of Georgia, and just north, or I think that's above Atlanta, is also experiencing a severe thunderstorm warning. And just south of Atlanta as well, just west of Macon, also severe thunderstorm warnings are issued. And a new severe thunderstorm warning is also issued just towards southern Alabama. So in those areas, the main threat will be gusty winds and small hail, most likely. There isn't really the tornado threat is mainly going to be limited, and also the hail threat mainly due to the lack of vertical wind shear that these thunderstorms are dealing with, which is definitely good news, because because you definitely obviously don't want to see a tornado. And large hail will mainly be limited, mainly because it's also due to the fact that there's not going to be an updraft that strong that'll create very large hail. So mainly small hail and damaging winds will be the threat for today, and there might be a slight isolated chance of a tornado. So if we take a look at the current temperatures, I want to show this because it gives a good idea of why these severe thunderstorms are occurring. And you see that in these areas we see 90s, upper 80s throughout this area, and then just to the west of that, not too far west of that, we see those temperatures drop to the 70s and 60s, and that's creating that instability for these severe thunderstorms to really develop throughout the Great Lakes region, and is creating an enhanced to moderate risk of and high risk of severe thunderstorms and damaging winds throughout these areas, thanks to this strong instability that this trough from Canada that's currently coming through the US. And also some of this energy that this trough is in training is from the remnants of Cristobal, which currently is still alive. It's still a post-tropical cyclone with winds of 40 miles per hour, and it could do something historic because it's still considered a post-tropical cyclone. It could make a second landfall in Canada as it passes over Lake Superior as a 40 mile per hour storm with a millibar pressure of 983. I'm pretty sure that would be the first time ever, or no, the first time since the 1800s we've seen a landfall, a post-tropical cyclone landfall in the Great Lakes. So this is something very historic and very rare that we might witness tonight as the remnants of Cristobal passes through the Great Lakes into Canada. So definitely keep and watch for that, since Cristobal is definitely enhancing the energy and some of the gusty winds that you're going to experience, not only in the severe thunderstorms but throughout the Midwest, as the Cristobal is currently bringing a lot of strong northwest winds with it, since it's still a strong low pressure system that's currently probably over the northern portion of Wisconsin right now. And if we take a look at the storm prediction, the severe thunderstorm likelihood, and you see that right around Detroit the chance is moderate, which pretty much means it's likely at that point, as it's pretty much the second highest severe thunderstorm threat likelihood you could get to, right under high. So the chance is definitely very likely throughout this region. And then throughout Ohio it's also enhanced, and while it's only marginal throughout Alabama and the southeast, we're still seeing severe thunderstorms pop up. So definitely do not keep your guard down if you're in those states, since severe thunderstorms are definitely not out of the question, even if the chances are only marginal in the southeast, and even in New Jersey and the extreme eastern portions of New York. So keep on watching that. And to show you why the tornadoes aren't likely in this today is due to the lack of wind shear, because I'm currently checking the model sounding viewer over the more enhanced region of where the severe thunderstorms will be the most likely and will likely be the worst. And you could see that this is the wind between each level and each height, each individual height between the atmosphere. Obviously the higher it is, the higher up in the atmosphere these winds are being forecasted. And you could see that for the most part the winds will mainly blow from the southwest, which means that there's pretty much a lack of wind shear, since wind shear is pretty much the change in wind direction or wind speed with a height. And this really isn't and the forecast is that there won't really be that much change of wind direction within height. neither change in wind strength with height, because the winds, for the most part, while they do get a little weaker as we go higher and higher in the atmosphere, for the most part they're mostly the same. So that's currently the reason why the tornado threat is very unlikely for today, since that there's just going to be a lack of wind shear throughout the most severe portions of the storm. And in the areas where the wind shear might be stronger, like towards Wisconsin and Minnesota, there's not going to be enough instability or convection of thunderstorms to really induce those tornadoes at all, since there's lack of moisture in those regions. So that's currently the reason why we're going to see a limited tornado threat, and an unlikely tornado threat at that for today. If we take a look at the Futurecast radar to see what's to come for a lot of the United States throughout today and tomorrow over the next 72 hours. So this is as of right now, and this Futurecast radar accurately predicts the current radar loop as of right now. But if we move forward, those thunderstorms pass by Detroit, and I would expect these thunderstorms to start to lose a little bit of steam as it goes over the Great Lakes, because the air temperature over the Great Lakes is much colder than the temperature on land, as a result of the lack of energy that water is transferring into the air. So there isn't really so that's gonna definitely weaken the instability as these thunderstorms move over the Great Lakes, and as a result limit its convection as it moves over the Great Lakes. And also, we're gonna enter nighttime, when usually the atmosphere and the air start to stabilize once the sun goes down. And then as we move forward, those thunderstorms, as you can see, start to lose steam as they enter Canada. As you see, the thunderstorms a little bit less organized, a little bit more disorganized, and as we move forward, those thunderstorms die late at night. And then there's still some thunderstorms here and there throughout Pennsylvania, but they're mainly light, and the chances of you getting, and there won't really be any severe thunderstorms impacting you that late at night. And then as we move forward, you could see that by the time we hit like 8 to 9 a.m., the trough is already at this point, and it won't really have enough time over land to create enough instability and convection, because the sun isn't really gonna give a lot of heat to the ground yet to induce that instability and create convection for severe thunderstorms. So by the time we reach afternoon, this should be completely out of the well, I wouldn't say out, but we should see most of the thunderstorms off the coast, and it'll pretty much be too late for it to become severe, since most of the thunderstorms are going to be over water at that point. However, we do still see pretty slight risk of severe thunderstorms through North Carolina, South Carolina, and through Georgia. So keep in mind of that. In terms of the rainfall over the next several days, over the next 5 days, there's going to be a decent amount of rainfall as a result of this trough sticking around over the Carolinas, potentially up to 4 inches in the Carolinas. So keep in mind in that, and watch for the flooding and potentially some rain also towards southern Florida. So be prepared if you're near a flood zone or near a creek where flash flooding could be likely in the future. But I guess that's it for this video. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a good day, and make sure to subscribe for more content.